If you are in the personal development space, then you have probably heard about visualization or mental rehearsal. And it is one of our favorite things because it is backed by science and research. And it's also used by the top CEOs, executives, athletes. Aubrey, who we're chatting with today, was even sharing with me that she saw the Olympics athletes using mental rehearsal. And so if you love using visualization or mental rehearsal, or you want to get better at it, you want to understand how to use it for yourself or your clients, this is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about a science-based approach to mental rehearsal and how you can incorporate it into your life. And at Yes Supply, we have our own coaching certification program, as well as our personal development courses to help you create the life that you want. And so this is the type of thing that we're always diving into deeper because we think it's so important to not just, put out mindset information, but actually make sure that it's evidence-based. So we do our own research and we look into the research that's out in the world. So, mental rehearsal. So, this is the process of essentially thinking about what it is that you want to do and thinking about what is the best way to prepare for it, what is the best approach. And if I were to go through this situation, whether it's speaking on stage or maybe playing sports, if I were to go through this situation, what would be the best case scenario? And going through that in your mind so that your mind becomes so used to it that when you go to do it in real life, you perform better. There's a saying that says that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And it's been found that when people use mental rehearsal, it actually can make physical changes in the body too. So I'm so excited for us to dive into this and also dive into a specific approach to mental rehearsal. So, the approach that we're going to be talking about today is the Petp Model, which was developed by Holmes and Collins in 2001. And I have our amazing neuropsychologist, award-winning neuropsychologist who's on our team, Dr. Aubrey, who we're going to be having a conversation about this today. And if you have any questions on mental rehearsal or visualization, leave them down below in the comments because we always go through our comments and want to make sure that we're answering all your questions and supporting you in creating your yes life. So let's hand it over to Aubrey. Hi, how are you today?
Great, Reese. I'm so excited to chat about this.
I am so excited too. So I'll hand it right over to you. I'm so excited.
Amazing. But yeah, this topic is really beautiful and really timely because, like you mentioned earlier, you've probably seen, if you've been watching the Olympics this summer, some of the athletes, doing some of the movements, kind of like adjacent to those movements, doing them off the court or on the sidelines. And this is because it's a very common technique that's been used in sports psychology for decades. And Holmes and Collins were really the ones to solidify this gold standard of what you can do and involve in your mental rehearsal to really push yourself to the edges and really nudge yourself into that next zone where you can actually see differences in your performance. So this isn't just this isn't just aligned to sports psychology. This can also be seen when it comes to doing well on a test or achieving your goals more generally. And so it's really, really fun to chat about this because I feel like a lot of us intuitively know that mental rehearsal is helpful, but most of us don't know that there is a gold standard. And if you are to follow the guidelines outlined by Holmes and Collins, you'll probably find that it gives you a better result. So today we want to chat about the Petp model a little bit and go through what each of the components are. Petp is an acronym and it stands for Physical, Environment, Task, Timing, Learning, Emotion, and Perspective. And if you want to go ahead and write those down, you can jot down examples of ways that you can approach each of these components with a goal that you have. So let's break these down a little bit. So the first P in Petp stands for physical. And it refers to the idea that in order for your mental rehearsal to really reach the highest outcome it can for you, you're going to want to incorporate the physical environment into your mental rehearsal. So if you can actually engage in the actual physical activity that you imagine doing when you're reaching that end goal. So say, for example, your end goal is achieving your first 10K month as a coach. You can really picture yourself sitting down and actually physically sitting in the chair that you're going to be at, the desk that you're going to be at when you open up your laptop or your tablet or your phone and see that notification that you finally hit that milestone. The more you can physically involve yourself in that mental rehearsal, whether it's physically actually doing it while you're mentally rehearsing or bringing that imagery into your mental rehearsal, the better it will be for you. The next component of PetLab is environment. So you're going to want to think about what the environment around you is going to actually be like. So for example, with a 10K month, are you going to be waking up in the morning, first thing, running to your computer and checking because you had a feeling that overnight you reached that goal? If so, maybe try to vision yourself in the morning, waking up, being excited to go ahead and check your goal achievements. Picture what it's going to look like outside, what it's going to sound like in in the room that you're in, how you're going to feel. Are you going to feel excited? Are you going to feel, all those kind of components? Bring that into your mental imagery. The next component of PetLab is task. So you're going to want to think about the actual thing you're going to be doing when you're reaching that goal. And if you can, even writing out the components of that task. So say, for example, your mental imagery involves you sitting down and opening up your laptop. You're going to want to actually, in your mind, picture every single step of that and not really skip through any of them to make sure that you can really picture every single detail of what that will be like for you. So for example, the act of sitting down, the act of actually opening your laptop, of moving your cursor to the place you need to go in order to open up the app that's going to show you whether you've achieved that goal or not, and so forth. And so you're going to want to include every single step in as much detail as you can in your mental rehearsal in order to reach that maximum outcome. The next component is timing. So you're going to want to think about the actual time it's going to take for you to do this task. And what's interesting is many of us kind of speed through as if we're kind of on fast forward. We'll speed through our mental imagery. In fact, most people tend to do that. But what PetLab describes is that you really should try to align the timing of your mental rehearsal around the actual activity that you imagine engaging in. So for example, if you think it's going to take you 5 minutes to really sit down and get to that app, which will show you that you've reached your 10K month, make sure that you assign yourself 5 minutes or so in the day to engage in this mental rehearsal so that you can go through it in real time and kind of align that to the actual activity, how it's going to feel in the real world. The next component of the Petp model is learning. This one's really interesting because it involves what you do when you are engaging in mental rehearsal over a period of time. So say, for example, you're giving yourself 30 days to practice mental rehearsal for this goal of reaching 10K months. During this 30-day period, you might learn something along your journey that will somehow affect the way that you do things in your day-to-day life differently. It might help you reach this goal a little bit faster. It might mean going back and revisiting your task, for example, of how you're actually going to be reaching the goal itself. You're going to want to take these learnings and make sure that you're not incorporating the same exact mental rehearsal imagery over the 30-day months, but bringing this learning in and starting over if you have to with a new mental model of what that experience is going to be like for you. So if you can make sure that your mental imagery is growing with you over that period of time as you're achieving your goal, you're going to have a better outcome. The next component of the Petp model is emotion. This one, we probably have an intuitive sense of how crucial it is, but it's actually very, very good for memory and recall, and it actually really helps us get into the physiology of how it's going to feel when we achieve that goal. And surprisingly enough, that's going to help our body prepare, our nervous system prepare for accepting this goal into our life, for keeping this goal in our life. And so we want to make sure that you're really feeling into the emotions that you anticipate having when you achieve this goal. So when you're going through the mental imagery, make sure it's not just about the task and the timing and the environment, but also how you're feeling inside. And the final component of the Petp model refers to perspective. So speaking about from the inside, some of our goals, it's very interesting to be able to mentally rehearse what it's going to be like from the outside. So a third person perspective of how it's going to feel when you're achieving a goal. But the Petp model shares with us that it's best to sometimes think about it from the first person perspective. So really think about it from where you're going to be in that particular day, that particular moment when you're achieving that goal. See it through your own eyes as you're going through that mental rehearsal. And so make sure, for some people it might be aligned to be able to look at themselves from the third person, but much of the research suggests that you're going to want to try to push yourself to think of the entire environment, everything that you're doing from the first person perspective. So actually sitting down, what you're looking at when you open up your laptop, for example, and all of those components as well. So The Petp Model, I think, is very exciting because I think a lot of us have pieces of this model that we kind of practice. They feel intuitive to us, but bringing them together is huge. So if you're able to sit down and really think about what it is you want to achieve and how mental rehearsal can help you, you can go ahead and break down the entire experience and align it with the Petp Model and see how it goes for you. So why don't we try actually picturing ourselves using the Petp Model in achieving, for example, our first 10K month? What will that feel like for us? For me, that might feel like waking up in the morning, hearing the birds, seeing the sunlight streaming in through my window, and just feeling so excited that I can't help myself. I just run to my laptop. I sit down in this very chair, I open up this very computer, and I'll bring my cursor over to my Kajabi app, for example. I'll open it up and realize that I finally got in the last student into my offering that has brought me to that 10K month for this month. I'm going to feel so excited. I'm probably going to start getting really hot. I'm probably going to want to call my husband over. I'm probably going to start jumping up and down. I'm going to really, really just feel so accomplished and so at peace. And just imagine during this entire experience, I finish my mental rehearsal and it dawns on me that one of the things I'll actually do, which didn't occur to me before, is that now I'll feel at peace enough to invest in that course or in that business coach or in that certification that will really take me to the next level. And so now that I know that this is something I would truly do in this experience, I'm going to, next time I engage in mental rehearsal, bring this into the imagery and add it on to what I'm imagining and make it all the more realistic and powerful.
Wow, that was such an amazing example of using the Petp model, and mental rehearsal and visualization has been huge for me. So I remember when I was just first starting Guest Supply and starting my coaching calls, I was so nervous for sales calls. And I would actually, embarrassingly enough, I would sit in front of the mirror and I would walk through an entire sales call. And it would take a long time. And I would feel the feelings of explaining the offer to the client, feel the feelings of them saying, like, yes, I'm ready to invest. And what that did was, by me doing it in front of the mirror and becoming comfortable with it in my brain, in my mind, then when I got on a real sales call, I was so much more calm, so much more composed, a way better communicator. And when clients started saying yes, I was like, okay, like I expected this to happen. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, like let me find the link. Like I had already thought through these types of things. So it really is such an important aspect of achieving more and performing better, but also it really helps you with preparation too, because you can kind of think through all the things that would come up and be ready for it. One other thing too, I actually recently filmed a mental rehearsal for our students because as I was running one of my coaching cohorts, I noticed that some people find posting on social media really nerve-wracking. To say they're nervous about going live or nervous about posting on social media, or they were saying it's hard. But the thing is, it's not actually hard, right? Like we can easily, my phone's under this pillow, you can easily press the Instagram button, press the little plus sign, press the live button, and you're already live. So going live isn't hard. It's usually our fears or our emotions around it that make it hard in our mind. And so what I did was I filmed a mental rehearsal taking the students through all of the steps that they would take to prepare a piece of content and click post. And I believe that by going through it in their mind, let's say they go through it in their mind 10 times, now they're going to feel like, oh, I've already done it. Doing it again is going to be easy. So there's such a big factor of creating a business, creating the outcomes that you want from a place of ease when you're willing to do the mental rehearsal first.
It's so true. And I love that concept of having this goal in mind and really getting your subconscious mind on board, getting your body on board. Mental rehearsal is very key for that. And I think this model is helpful because hopefully it'll provide you with some confidence that this is so science-backed that it's used by Olympians, it's used by the top performers around the world all the time. And this kind of structure can really help you get to where you want to go.
I love it. So if you're watching this and you're wanting to build your own personal development rituals and process and journey, I invite you to join us inside Yes, It's Yours. I'll leave all the details below. But Yes, It's Yours walks you through our 5-step process to creating your yes in life. So you create the vision that it is that you want. You elevate your self-image so you see yourself as the person that has it, and you set up your schedule and release the things that are holding you back from creating it so you can believe that everything that you want is already yours and go out and create it. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, I want to take my clients through visualizations, I want to take my clients through mental rehearsal, I want science backed tools to support my clients in my coaching sessions, then I invite you to join us inside the Yes Apply Method coaching certification, because we've developed the entire program with science backed methods and with evidence based modalities to make you feel confident as a coach, and also so you can support your clients deeper. If you want to see some of our student success stories, you can go through our YouTube channel, because we're always posting some of our student interviews about the outcomes that they're getting and how they felt when they experienced the program. And if you want to learn more, you can just head to yesapply.co/certified, and we'll also leave the links down below. So if you have any questions on mental rehearsal or visualizations, then leave them in the comments. Very soon, we're also going to be posting a video about if you struggle to visualize, how to overcome this. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss that. And thank you so much for watching.